Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Self Love Society. This is the podcast for people who are on the journey of self discovery, wellness, with a dash of foolishness sprinkled on top. This is a safe place to learn, laugh, and discover your own individual path. Let's start the show.
Hey guys, this is Sai,
Hello.
aka Nkiru, the Love Guru.
And this is Tony Gillen, licensed professional counselor.
How are you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Self Love Society. We hope you guys are having a phenomenal self care Sunday today.
Yes.
And that you guys are doing what is best for you.
Yes. I don't know if anyone else is having the same problem that I've been having with the episodes on Apple or Spotify. If you all are having any issues getting access to those episodes, please let us know.
Please.
I know that I'm struggling with getting them, and I'm recording this show.
Yes.
So I don't know what's happening with my phone, but maybe I need to call Apple about it. But
yeah,
maybe I'm not the only one.
So please let us know. You can find us on Self Love Society 13 on Instagram and Facebook and communicate any of that with us. Or you can find Tony if you want to reach Tony at Gillen Service. What is it? Gillen Therapy?
Gillen Therapy.
Gillen Therapy on Instagram.
On Instagram and on Facebook. And your friends is Tony Dion. I have not had my don't have my Gillen Therapy page on Facebook just yet. I'm still working on that, but you can reach me on Instagram and Facebook.
And for me, for Instagram or Facebook, you can reach me at Confessions of Cy, CY. And that's on Instagram or Facebook. So let's start the show like we always do. How you doing, T?
Whew, oh, that yawn. I don't know where it came from. I am, you know what? How am I doing? Tony, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I think that I am managing pretty well. I try to, I have these moments where things happen in my life and I am forced to return to my mantra that I can only worry about the things that I have control over, and the things that I don't, I have to allow them to just be what they are and let other people deal with those things. And that really helps me a lot, because I definitely, if I didn't have that mantra, if I didn't have that mindset at this place in my life, I would be going crazy with all the stuff that's happening in my life. I will say some successes.
Yes.
I had my first client with my business.
Congratulations.
Yes, it was very exciting.
Yay.
And man, like, I've never never thought about being a business owner. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to do something with a business, and then a person pays me for it, and it's my business, it's just like, wow.
Yep.
Like, okay, I did something out of my own. Someone bought into it. They paid me for it, and that was it. And it was just like weird. Like, I even went into it in a different mindset. Like, okay, I had this nervousness at first with, okay, this person is paying for my services. I got to make sure that
it's perfect.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I can't play around with their money. But I'm not going to play around anyway. But I had to remember that this person is paying for not only my time, but my level of expertise.
Yes.
And my effect.
Yep. And then
my influence.
And then also you have to understand that people pay you for that anyway.
Yeah.
In your other walks of life, like when we have interactions in our businesses, in our quote unquote 9 to 5s or whatnot, it's the same energy, it's the same expertise, it's the same thing. You're just packaged with this wrapper of a corporation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The corporation is just, people are coming to you based off of the marketing of that corporation, but you're still the same person. Mm-hmm. You're still the same licensed professional. And the fact that you did that on your own and it's working out for you is dope. That's dope.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing to do that, and I can't wait to continue. And I had some other people reach out to me for services, and so I am hoping to kind of get a caseload going.
Yay.
So I'm excited about it. And honestly, I haven't even really advertised it
Uh-huh.
because I'm not. My schedule is so all over
Full.
the place with just not only my job that I have, but my as a parent.
Yes.
I always have my kids. Well, I don't always, but I have them a lot of times, and so trying to maneuver a work schedule around them is tough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to figure out times where I know that I'll be by myself.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what's going on with me. How about yourself? How you been doing?
I am doing absolutely amazing, actually. And I say that I,
So amazing.
I say that and you think immediately like, wow, everything's going great. No.
Mm.
My mindset is just shifted. My perspective has just shifted.
Okay.
I've learned how to float.
Float,
For
float
real.
on, float on.
Yes. I've learned how to mentally float through this new territory that we're in. Like I'm in a different space of life. I'm a lot of what I am doing nowadays is just not a whole lot that I know about. Everything is kind of new, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm just kind of floating. I'm just kind of being in the present and being grateful for the experiences that I'm experiencing right now. Whether good, bad, or different, just whatever is coming, dealing with it in the present instead of worrying so much about what could happen, what would happen, and all of that. So I'm feeling great because I finally learned how to float. Like typically I would be freaking the fuck out by now. Like, oh my God, something's gonna go wrong because this is just not how it's normally looking. And I don't really have a lot of that anymore. You know what I mean? I still don't know what's going on, but I've learned to, yeah, I learned to, that's okay. I learned to just float and chill and relax.
Float and chill.
So that's how I'm doing.
Well, that's
I'm
good.
great.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. You
Yes.
know, it that can be very tough, like we were saying before. And I think it's like something you gotta constantly remind yourself because like you'll think that everything is okay and something else will just throw you off. I
Yeah.
know, like with me, where I feel like once I get a stride going,
Yeah.
something just comes out of nowhere and it just knocks me down.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of go through the process all over again. Okay, talk about it. Let's process it. Let's see, how do you feel right now? What's going on? What's happening? How are you feel interior?
Yeah.
Internally. How are you feeling externally? Okay, what do you have control over? What do you not have control over?
Yeah.
All right, now let's just focus on those things. And it takes me a moment to kind of stand back up, but it works out. I
Yeah.
will say it's annoying too, though.
It is.
It's annoying when like you're going straight and you're going smooth. Everything's going smoothly, and then something just throws you off, and
But
you got to deal with that.
But
again.
you know what I think of when things like that happen? My granny used to tell me all the time, stop rushing, stop speeding, because sometimes certain things are happening, and stop complaining about traffic, because sometimes certain things are happening for the divine or God is allowing these things to happen to you to slow you down, to prevent you from being in something that
I
you
literally
don't.
was just thinking about that same
Yeah,
example.
so it's like when these things happen and you get frustrated and you're like, man, I was in a stride. I try to shift my perspective and be like, okay, well maybe I'm being slowed down
Maybe
because
maybe I needed to take a break at that moment.
yes, because there's something that I'm supposed to meet up with, and it's not gonna. If I keep going at the speed that I'm going, I'm gonna miss it, or it's gonna miss me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I don't worry about it. Then also I try to latch on to the concept that everything that is meant for me is for me, and that no matter what, no matter what happens, nothing can.
God has for me.
Oh, I love that song.
It is for me.
I love that song. I know without a doubt
Here we go.
that he will bring me out.
Uh-oh.
But God has for me is for me. I
All
love
right,
that
pass the
song.
collection plate around. We take big bills, 20s,
Yeah, for real,
50s,
for
even
real. You
hundreds.
can sow into our ministry.
Yes.
But anyway, like for real, I just look at it like I try to shift my focus and I try to shift my understanding because whatever God has for me and whatever God has designed for me, it doesn't matter what anybody on the outside is trying to throw salt on the game or hate or stumbling blocks in the way. It's not whatever they do, it's still not going to stop what is meant for me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't even sweat it. I don't even stress over it.
Yeah, I mean you can't. You can't really.
can't.
You gotta keep going because there's always gonna be something going on in life that just gonna throw you off.
Yeah.
And you just have to stand back up. It's okay to not be knocked down. It's
Yes.
okay to fall. It's okay to be bruised and to be hurt, and that's fine. Take your time to get yourself together, to process how you feel, and let's work on standing back up and getting back in the game.
Yes.
You know, so so
Recap.
so recap. Last week we talked about so the journal prompt.
Yes, we talked about our alma mater.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Oh,
journal.
yeah, Rockwood Center. Oh, geez. Oh, the Rockwood School District in
Yes.
general. I don't know what's happened since then. I haven't been keeping my ears to the ground on that.
I know that there has been big movements when it comes to CRT, critical race theory. There's been a couple of states that have passed laws to ban critical race theory teaching.
Did they do that in Georgia?
I think it was in Tennessee was one
Tennessee?
of them. Let me look it up. Let me not get.
See, now you're stuck.
Sorry, y'all, my dog. Get your butt over here. There you go. Sit down. Okay, let me look it up. Critical race theory.
Yeah, I know there was some states that, and I don't even really understand the. Is it basically? It sounds like it's simply teaching. Well, not simply, but it sounds like it's teaching children about social justice in a way.
Yeah, so
that's what it sounds like.
It's that, and it's also teaching like cause and effect. You know what I mean? Like having people understand how racism can affect certain things and how they have played a role in certain. Basically, how racism played a role in why people are the way that they are and why certain demographics are the way that they are. Basically, giving a full understanding.
That's essentially what we used to do in social justice training.
Yeah.
And when I was in the Parkway School District, shout out to my mentor, Dr. Charlotte EJ, friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast.
She used to, her and her staff used to run the social justice trainings in the Parkway School District, where we would spend 2 days. The workshops were 2 days apiece, and we would sit with different staffs of different schools, where we would talk about the role of racism in this country. And we talked about the table of racism, and there were 2 legs on each, 2 legs on each side, and 2 legs belonged to white people, and the other 2 legs belong to people of color. And those legs together hold up what we ideal is what we call racism. And those 2 legs that white people own are white supremacy and white privilege. And then the legs that people of color hold up are internalized racism and targeting.
Oh, wow.
And they work together to hold up racism.
Yeah.
And we talked about how those things affect us in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
And we break each group up. So doing those trainings, we would break the groups up. So you have all the white people in this group, all the people of color in this group, and we will do our own individual work and then come together at the end.
That's so nice.
And it sounds like something like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand, and I will say this, in those trainings, sometimes it was hard for people to understand that they had privilege or that there was, it's hard for them to see racism because it's probably so easy for them to ignore it because they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And so I can only imagine what kids might feel.
Yeah.
And you probably have those parents who haven't even gotten to the place of accepting it.
So most of the frustration is actually not coming from children at all. This is more coming from parents because it hasn't even been introduced to most children at this point. It's a lot of pushback from the parents. So there's 3 states that have already banned
Really?
Critical race theory. It's been banned in Idaho, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. It's in the process of being banned in South Dakota, Iowa, or
Idaho got their own issues.
yeah, Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, North Carolina, West Virginia, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Missouri.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of people that are going on. I just don't understand it. Somebody made a good point, and they was like, if our kids are old enough to experience racism, then every kid is old enough to understand about it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good? He just eating his bones. I just moved my foot.
It's a she. Don't do her like that.
I don't know. Look, I'm so sick of
I
dogs.
know she
in my
black,
life.
but don't be.
I am tired of dogs. I am dogged out. I've been having dogs my whole life, and I am now at the place where
Your boys ain't even real good and old yet. Wait till they
Max?
No, your boys. Wait till they get a little bit older and they be like, Daddy, I want another dog.
They gonna get a dog on their own. I'm not taking care of no more dogs. After
Don't
Lax,
do 'em
I
like
told
that,
Lax,
see?
Lax,
You
you
gonna
are
tell.
the last one. You better ride this one out, cause that's it. That's it.
Why you gonna take your dog that you last of the
Look,
weekend?
somebody was like, to all my dog lovers out there, please don't take this. Don't be so sensitive on this, because I love my dogs too. I've always loved my dogs, and so just don't take this too serious, okay? I am so like. Somebody asked me, "You're gonna be really hurt when Lax passes away," and I was like, you know what? Not really.
Hate you.
I'm not saying I want him to, but I don't believe that it's going to tear me up like everybody thinks it's going to. I could be totally wrong. I don't believe it. I think that when somebody asked me, what would you do if you came and found out he passed away? I would put him in his kennel. Hopefully he passes away in this kennel. And I would politely pick that kennel up, take it to the front door, call Humane Society to come dispose of his body.
Oh, relax.
And that would be the end of it. That would be the end of my dog days.
You guys, Tony has a wonderful little chocolate
He's a great dog.
pug.
He's not chocolate, he's black.
Black pug.
El Negra.
And I have Brindle.
Brindle?
Yeah, she's
That's
got.
her name?
No, a Brindle is her color.
Oh.
I have a Brindle French bulldog. Her name is Lady.
Lady.
So there's Lady and Lex.
Nope.
One day we have to get them together for
No.
a photo op.
Not at all. I don't even care.
No.
No. That's two dogs at the same. First of all, Lax don't even play with other dogs.
She don't play with other dogs.
Lax cannot hear. He's deaf. And he's partially blind. And so that makes it very hard for him to get around. So now I have to keep him with a leash now, because he literally could be standing next to me and be lost. Mm-hmm. And he won't hear me because I can't call him. Uh-huh. And if I touch him, he like jumps because he didn't see me. Uh-huh. And so it's tough. I took him walking one day. The last time we went for a walk, this was probably last year. Mm-hmm. We went for a walk, and I took him and we walked around this lake that's on our property. I don't know what he saw or what he thought he saw, but he took off running towards the lake. And like there was like these rocks around the lake too. And so he like took off and went airborne over these rocks towards the lake. Luckily I had the leash on him, or he would have been done. I'm like, what did you see? What literally did you see? You saw something that made you just dart towards the lake.
Maybe he wanted it to be over.
I'm like, wow. Wow, I didn't think about that. It's kind of dark.
It's very dark.
Maybe he thought that was his moment to
This
just
is my
get out of here.
chance.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. But yes, he'll be 14 this year.
That's a long life. I hope my dog lives long like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm at the phase of my life. I think because I have kids also.
I don't have
It's like-
children, so this is my baby.
So yeah, for me, it's just another thing to deal with on top of my children. And so it's just like, look, luckily he doesn't require much maintenance, but he still is an added, like, say for instance, I want to go out of town next week. Mm-hmm. Or I want to go out of town soon, but I got to find not only a babysitter for my children, I have to find someone
A
to watch
dog
them.
sitter.
But now I got to figure out where my dog's going to go for a day and a half.
Yeah.
And I literally just thought of you in that moment.
I was gonna say to TT Cherie.
Wow. Okay.
What are you talking about?
Okay, well, shoot, you done volunteered yourself.
He says recorded.
Yeah,
You
it's
gotta-
recording. It's on tape. It's on film.
Lax can come over here. He'll have a good time with his little cousin.
Yeah. Good luck.
I have a bed for him put away, so that way he can be away from her when he over her doing the most.
All right, we'll see how that works out. I look forward to you telling me the stories of what happened. He hasn't been really around any other dogs in years.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, like when I take him outside now to use the bathroom, if there's another dog out there, he literally acts like he doesn't see that dog, and he might literally not see the dog, but he wants no part of other animals. He's just like, okay, let's get back in the house.
All right, that was cool. Back to my cage.
Yeah, back to my cage. Or is it time to eat? Nope. All right, back in my cage. That's pretty much it. But yeah, critical race theory.
Yeah, so there's we had that whole situation with critical race theory last week, and then we had the affirmations. I will reach back to help.
Okay.
I am going to do my part in change, and I will identify and check my privilege. So for me, the identifying and check my privilege was a big one for me last week, because I feel that
that was your foot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel that it is important to make sure. I'm sorry, y'all, if y'all hear random noises. My dog has her bone. I feel that it's important, especially in my opinion, for Black people to recognize and identify our privilege. Mm-hmm. A lot of us feel like that we don't have any because there's so many things that we don't have. But you would be surprised that there are a lot of things that we do have privilege in that we could be just as bad as the things that we're talking about that we don't like. You know what I mean? So making sure that we're checking our privilege and that we are using our privilege to speak on things that may need to be spoke on. A good example of that was last week there was an announcement of McDonald's going on a strike. And there was a back and forth on T's page.
I'm just laughing because I literally posted that the other day, and there's this long
I stayed
battle.
out of it.
I was like, look, I do not even care enough about this conversation.
I looked at it, and I
just
saw,
don't break the picket line, if they go on strike.
I looked at it, because I posted it first. I think T posted it for me, and then for some reason, they chose violence on T's page, and I was just like,
was going at it.
I was just like, I'm not getting it. I'm just not. But I think that a lot of times, because we don't, some of us, we don't work for fast food, so we don't realize that us not working for fast food is a privilege. Having PTO is a privilege. Making a living wage is a privilege.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Benefits.
And benefits and things like that.
You gotta take care of yourself.
And so when people are deciding that they're going to stand up and make a difference for themselves, a lot of us in our privilege, we say things that are very insensitive in some ways or another, and very inconsiderate of another person's perspective. But yet and still, we want people to take sympathy in our plight. And I feel that whole mantra of I will identify and check my privilege is so important when it comes to that, because while, okay, some of y'all might like McDonald's. I don't eat at McDonald's, so it don't matter to me.
I don't either.
But
I do gotta get sweet tea though.
Yeah, some of y'all might like McDonald's and you want to go to McDonald's, but like making a stand and saying, okay, I'm going to stand with these people who are trying to do something to make their lives functionable for them, and I'm not going to eat here for this X amount of time. I mean, why not use your privilege to do that? Why not use your privilege to choose a different restaurant during this time? Like, I just feel like there's so many ways when you really open your eyes to look for it, that you will see a lot of privilege that you have and that you can utilize to make a difference in this world.
Yeah, we all have privileges in different areas. We talk about, like, even in the social justice training that we did, we talked about isms. Yeah. How we all have privileges in certain areas. You have man privilege. You have woman privilege at times. We talk about white women compared to women of color. You have racism. You have classism, sexism, ableism. I forgot the one for religion, but like
parentism. Do y'all know y'all about to get a check every month?
Y'all, Ain't getting
Yeah,
no
all
check.
y'all parents out here in the world.
That's only if you claim your children on your taxes. And that's a
Y'all
whole
about to get a monthly check from July to December.
must be nice, guys. We'll talk about that on the
Another
podcast
episode.
of co-parenting and divorce and relationships.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
we'll talk about that at another point. But yeah, I won't be partaking in that at all. So I'm not even going to get excited about that.
Privilege.
But good job for you all.
But that's a privilege.
You know, there's mother privilege in this
There's
world.
a difference between mother and father privilege.
Oh man, we going down a rabbit hole.
Listen, we ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna do it, but there is.
Not today. We not
gonna choose violence
yeah,
today.
we're not gonna choose violence today. We just gonna skip on past that hole. Gonna pull on ourselves on out. All right, I'm near the top. Let me go ahead and grab myself back up. I slipped. I messed up for a minute, but I'm back.
That's right. But that's
But
all
yeah,
kinds
you
of
have that.
isms
I
and
mean,
pres-
you think about like even the holidays. They're all Christian based.
Yes.
So what if you don't celebrate it? Like you go to your job,
Yep.
job pays you on these Christian holidays.
Yep.
What if you're not Christian?
Yeah.
So you have Christian privilege. And so it's so many privileges out
It's
there.
so many privileges, especially, don't even get me started, being black and subscribing to modern day religion. That's a privilege because you don't have to explain your spirituality. There's so many privileges.
If you black and you're not Baptist or something like that,
For real.
it's like, wait a minute, black Catholic.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
They look at you like something is wrong.
So
with
you don't believe in Jesus? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, would you relax? Why so hostile?
Yeah, it's crazy because I do a podcast on Sundays
Don't be Muslim.
with a couple of my friends who are actually all over the world. My friend Lee is in England right now, and I have some that are, they're all over the world. And we do a podcast about, the name of the podcast is called The One Rule Church, and it talks about how we all have different walks, spiritual walks, but the only rule is love. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and it doesn't matter what we're doing differently as long as we love and respect one another. So we talk about that quite a bit on that podcast also. The difference of and how the stigma of not being regular in your spirituality and when you're black, and how that's a whole thing. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of privileges. So that's my understanding with that particular
Yeah.
affirmation.
Yeah, so
What about you?
So the affirmation that stuck with me, I think it's the part where we talked about I am going to do my part in change. I think that we all have a role, and I try my best not to get sucked into what other people think that I should be doing.
Facts.
Because everybody, I was reading something, or not reading, I was listening to somebody talking, they was talking like how we all have a role. You have the people who are the fighters, the ones who push and who fight for change, and you have the people who do things behind. They strategize. They do the small things that they can do to further the movement
And to feed the movement.
Yeah, and so I feel like a lot of times people they see, especially for me, they see a black man, they see a black man who's educated, who is a father, and they feel like I'm supposed to be this huge
Warrior.
disciplinarian, warrior, fighter, leader of the people, and I'm just like,
I knew you was gonna
I'm
say
not that person. I mean, I'm gonna do my job. I'm going to do what I feel like I can do, like as a therapist and as a father. But I'm not. I don't feel like. Okay, how does this? I don't want this to sound terrible.
I knew you was gonna say that because that's me all day. Like,
Yeah, it's not me.
not gonna
But
be able to do it.
I feel like people, and it kind of goes back to my mantra of, I can only do what I can do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people think, okay, I want to go out here and I'm going to try to make everybody change. I'm going to make everybody, I'm trying to bring all these, people of color together, black people together to make this change. And I'm just like,
That's not my fight.
that's not my fight. If we all come together, that's great. But my job is to handle the people that I have the
Yes.
influence over at the moment.
Yes.
Like, and as it grows, then yeah. But at the moment, I got influence over especially my children. My children, I feel like, are my greatest legacy.
It is.
And they are the thing. They are the people that are going to really directly be influenced by my presence.
And that's so important. Like, if people would understand that if you focus on yourself and your family, that's enough to change the world.
That's
if
enough.
everybody focused on themselves and their children, their family, you would single-handedly change the world.
Think about it. If
Michael
all
Jackson
white
wasn't
people
talking crazy.
think of all white people. And I'm not saying all white people are bad. I'm just saying think of every white person in the world taught their children about social justice and dismantling the system that we call racism.
It would be dismantled.
It would be done in one generation.
It would.
One generation.
That's what I'm saying. But everybody is focused on everyone else instead of focus on yourself. Go within. Focus on who you are, what you're doing, focus on your part. You focus on your part, then you would realize that the whole has changed because you were focusing on your part. My favorite quote, my girl, Demo Warrior Princess brings it
Demo.
Yes. She always says,
Demo.
if I am minding my business.
Why you sound
and
like
you are minding your business. I mean, if I am minding my business and
she sound
you
like she from
are
Compton.
minding my business, who is minding your business?
Oh, let me say it again. If I'm minding my business and you're minding my business, who is minding your business?
Yes.
Oh. That sounds like something Tabitha Brown would say.
Some girl.
Say, have you a great day, and if you can't have a good day, don't go messing nobody.
That's right. Don't you go messing up nobody else's you hit.
Right.
And that's for real. It's like focus on yourself. People be so hell bent on I have to change. You don't. That's not your job. Everyone has free will and the free right to choose. Let them choose what is best for them. If you would focus on your choice and making the best choice for you, then you would be surprised how much of an example you would be to others by handling your own business.
Yep. That is absolutely true. So, I like to get to the journal prompt.
Yes.
And our journal prompt was, what are you doing to recharge your mental batteries? So I'll start with that one. For me, I definitely I keep up my mantra, but I also try my best to find ways to relax. Like
we on the same wave like this time.
you know, it's funny. Relaxing is different. Like, cause sometimes I can work and relax. Like I do. I do Grubhub on the side sometimes, and that's relaxing for me because I get the chance to just drive around. Even though I'm working per se, it's relaxing because I'm by myself. I'm just driving it's mindless work. And I get a chance to sit and just kind of listen to music and just vibe, just vibe out while I'm doing this. You know, I recently got into watching the X-Men, the cartoon from when we were kids.
Oh,
I never watched the cartoon when we were kids.
Oh, that was my joint.
Yes, I love the theme song, but when the TV show would come on, I didn't really understand what was happening. So I just was like, I don't want to watch this. But I know it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And they have all the seasons. So I've been watching every episode for the last few days. So that's been really relaxing for me. And I'm planning to go out of town. I'm going to Chicago for a day and a half. And so I'm trying to figure out what I can do while I'm there. I definitely plan on getting me a nice hotel because it's only for a night.
Yes.
And then finding some fun stuff to do and getting some rest.
Yes.
You know, just away.
Yes. Me, rest is important.
Yes.
I have been doing good about doing that, resting in that nature, as well as the other thing that I implemented to recharge my mental batteries was implementing my my schedule again.
Okay.
So, like back in the day when we used to have like first period and second period and all the way to eighth period and all those things. And we used to write down on our schedule what was due and blah, blah, blah. And all, back in those days, it's been a long time since I've really incorporated like a schedule, really scheduling my life out. I feel that this has helped me recharge myself because it helped me to be able to physically look at the load that I put on myself day in and day out. Not putting too much pressure on myself about getting everything done in one day. and I feel like that helps me not deplete my batteries immediately on Monday, and then that way when I get to Thursday, I'm just dragging.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it helped me spread things out, and it also helped me to balance certain things, not doing too much of one thing on one day. You know what I mean? I do quite a few podcasts, and I also have other business things that I do. So I try to spread things out instead of trying to do everything on one day, and then other things are just falling by the wayside because I'm trying to complete this mountain of work on this one particular day, and then everything
Mountain.
so. Yeah, so I feel that implementing this scheduling technique for myself has been more beneficial to me and more helpful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great. I think doing kind of getting back to the basics of getting some order in your life is good practice.
Yes.
Because I definitely could use that in my life. I basically live based off a calendar.
Yeah.
If it's not on my calendar, I have no idea it exists. Like if you tell me something's
said
happening
what?
on this day, please share your calendar with me so that I know, because I don't know if you don't have it on my calendar. Literally.
He said, I will plan something else.
I will plan something else. I will go to sleep. I will sleep in. I will do something totally different. And you'll be like, didn't I tell you this? Look.
And that's another thing.
He's sitting right here.
Oh, she farted on us.
Oh.
And that's another thing. You smell it.
I smell something, but I was like, I don't know. You'll see.
And so that's another thing, like just planning your schedule out and making sure that you do what is best for you ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So today's topic. Crabs in a bucket. Fuck it.
Where did you come up with that from?
So, what, crabs in a bucket, fuck it?
Well, I know where the saying comes from, but like, what prompted you to?
So, what prompted me to this whole notion of crabs in a bucket, and I don't know if you guys know what that is. So, like, there's this saying or this, I don't know if is this a black thing?
I don't know. I don't know where the
Listen,
phrase originated from.
Let us know in the comments if this is just a black thing, because we don't know. But in black culture, it might be in all culture, but in black culture, there's this concept of crabs in a bucket. Like, if you ever watch crabs going in a bucket, they are climbing. They try their best to climb out of the bucket. And just as one crab climbs on top of the others to get to the top, the other crabs will pull that crab down to make sure that it doesn't get to the top, because it's trying to get to the top. So that's the concept of crabs in the bucket. What do you think? What do you think?
I think that I first heard crabs in a bucket probably when I was in college, like undergrad. And I can remember kind of wondering, like, okay, what does that mean? Like, okay, crabs in a bucket. You know, you have all these crabs in a bucket. As one crab is trying to escape, the other crabs are pulling it back. And I try to relate that to society. I definitely feel like I see that as I'm speaking from the black culture standpoint. I feel like when it comes to like our leadership, like people that rise to leadership in our culture, you always have somebody who is wanting to destroy them or pull them down or to remind people of the things they did wrong. I oftentimes think, like, you think of people like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, Tupac, you know, people who were great leaders of their time. And I wonder, over time, had they been able to live a long life, what would be their story now? Like, people revere Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Tupac as like these people who are amazing, and they put them on shirts. They quote. They have all these quotations. Their contributions to the world have been timeless contributions. But I wonder, had they lived a full life, what would be the narrative about them? Like, that's something that I wonder sometimes. And so, I feel like because of that crabs in a bucket mentality, would that have desecrated their names in a way?
Yeah,
I feel like a lot, we deal with that often. You know, it's real big in St. Louis. You know what I
Really?
mean? I think it is.
Okay.
Like, just the whole notion of someone trying to be successful, even whether it's like a leader or just a regular person, someone being successful, someone like you said, okay, we'll just take you for example, T. You started your own business, you started your own thing. You know what I mean? You know, I think that people have a hard time saying, that's great. I'm so proud of you. I want you to succeed without being backhanded about it. You know what I mean? People are
Right.
kind of looking at, okay, how can I stop him? Because I don't want him to get there before me. And I don't understand what that is. I'm sure it's common in most, but I see it a lot in St. Louis.
I think it's pride.
I definitely
It's just
think
pride
it has
and
pride.
ego.
Yeah.
And it's this mindset that you cannot be better than me. I
Yeah.
have to be better than you.
But if people just understood that everybody's got their own thing, you can have 50. Go to the grocery store. There are 50 different brands of bread.
Yeah, just
You don't have to-
Humility is not something that
Yeah.
is deemed. It seems like in our society, humility is something that's not deemed necessary.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I come in and I say, "Man, I love what you're doing." Like for me personally, I'm a humble person, and I'll come in and I see somebody doing something amazing. I'm like, "Man, how do you do that? Tell me how you do
Yes.
that." And people are like, "Really?"
I think people also look at humility as weakness too, and that's
Yes.
another problem.
They call
When
it
you-
what they call it, dick riding.
Yeah, and it's like it's not weakness. Like I remember I used to see a meme on Facebook all the time. I don't know who made it or whatever, but it would say something along the fact of the very people you need to learn from, you spend time hating on. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
person that can teach you how to do the thing that you're trying to do, you spend your whole energy, your efforts, and everything hating on that person or talking crap about that person instead of learning from them. There's
Yeah.
so much that you can learn from people. You know what I mean? Like you can learn a lot just by putting yourself in a situation to receive the information
Yeah.
and to humble yourself enough to ask for the information. You know what I mean? But people are so I think people are brainwashed in their mind to think one of two things. I have to do it on my own, or if I ask, that person won't tell me.
Yeah, I can't make that person seem like
Yeah.
they have control over me or that they know more than me. Because then now, if they know more than me or they have more access to things than me or they
No
have
one
more
will
knowledge
respect
than me,
it.
then it's like, oh, that means that they sunning me. Like, oh, I'm not. They disrespecting me.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that comes from a kind of a not prehistoric, but an early man theory.
It's so
you know,
stupid,
we talk
though.
about like the alpha male.
Yeah, but it's so
Not in the way that they've been
Yeah.
talking about society nowadays with Kevin Samuels and all the people. When I talk about alpha male, like in terms of the man that had everything was the most desirable,
yeah.
and the man who didn't have as much or wasn't as strong or wasn't as smart, they were deemed as lesser tier. So they didn't get the top of the top of the litter when it for lack of
Yeah.
a better term when it came to women
Yeah.
and their ability to progress their seed. And so I think that comes from that time period where we had to be we had to be the best. It was
Yeah.
highly competitive because
But
your life and your lineage depended on your competitiveness.
That's true. But I honestly feel like if we would just humble ourselves in a lot of ways, you go a lot further with the help of others. There's so much, for me personally, I feel like I've gotten where I've gotten in life because I have no problem with listening to my elders, listening to people who have done it before me, understanding how they did it. It's a cheat code. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to take the cheat code. Wisdom is a cheat code. Me listening to another person and their experience of how they did it, what they learned from it, and me not having to walk through that to get that information is a cheat code.
Yeah.
Why would I not want to receive that cheat code? For pride? What? Who is it? Who am I giving this? What is this pride doing for me?
I think sometimes it's insecurities.
But it sucks.
It's it's people that grow up feeling like they're less than.
Yeah.
And so they spend their life trying to make sure that people recognize them and know they matter.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to people who have a lot of knowledge, you can't allow that person to make you feel less than because you have to fight that feeling your whole life.
Right.
And so now you can't take advice. You can't take critique or
Yeah.
direction. You
Yeah.
can't be the one that's not in control
That's true.
because it reminds you of that feeling you had when people didn't feel like you had the knowledge you needed. You know, or maybe you were called dumb all your life or stupid or anything. You know, you have a lot of insecurities, and so to combat that, you got to act like you know it all. You got to act
Yeah.
like you're the best. You know, which doesn't help. It actually
No,
hurts you in the long run.
it really does. So I want to shift and ask you a question.
What's up?
Do you think that this ever plays a part in I don't know how to frame this question well, but do you think people who feel like that they may have more to offer may not offer all that they can because they're afraid of this concept of crab in the bucket type mentality?
You mean like people not doing everything they can because they're afraid people are going to try to bring them down?
Yes. Like, say, for instance, you have the ability, like, we'll just keep using you as an example because
Okay.
it's easy.
That's fine.
You have this ability to create and cultivate this therapeutic service for yourself. But you know that if you go out and put your all into it and make this wonderful thing, people are going to hate on you. So you don't do it because you don't feel like dealing with the drama of everything. Do you think that that ever happens with people?
I think that happens with people who are concentrating on pleasing people.
Yeah.
I think when you are wanting everyone to love you and to appreciate you, it can be hard to step out there and try new things because you're always cognizant of the way people perceive you.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that can make you a prisoner of
Expectations.
not so much expectations, but
Limitations.
it could be limitations. It could be just the opinions of other people. Sometimes you can be a prisoner of that,
Yeah.
to where you can't even move without someone saying, "Okay, that's a good job. Do that." Or, "Okay, do that. Oh, that's great. Do that." If somebody says, "Oh, I don't mess with that," now you're in a fetal position in your room. Like, what did I do wrong? So I think you have to first be confident in yourself and understand that you do care. We human. We care about what other people think about us.
Yeah. No
You
matter
know,
how
it's
much
okay.
you think you don't.
Because there was
I
a
hate
time
when
where we needed people to be on our side for survival.
Yeah.
And so it's our natural inclination to care what other people think about us.
Yeah.
The trick is to care what people think about you that actually care about you.
Yeah.
The people that don't matter, that don't have any effect on you in your life, don't worry about whether they care about you or what they think about you. Think about the people who love you, your parents, your siblings, your best friends, your whatever.
People who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind.
There you go. I feel like that was something Coach G said. I don't know.
Shout out to Coach G.
Shout out to Coach G,
What
friend
was-
of the podcast.
What was his name? What was the all the rules? What are they called?
It's about humble in victory, gracious in defeat.
No. Like all of his little rules. There were so many of them.
I don't know. I don't remember those.
It's like a book full of rules that he made for life.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I'm
Coach-
pretty sure they were very, very,
He still
Very
has
enlightening.
them. Yeah.
yeah, I still laugh because Coach G was my dad's football coach when they were younger. So funny to me. I'm like, my dad was, I'm like, how old are you, Coach? 'Cause my
That's
dad,
one thing. I really do not know how old Coach G is.
I didn't know. I thought
It
he was
makes
young.
no
And then he
sense.
told me he coached my dad in high school. It's like, what? Wait a minute. How old are you? That's crazy. But yeah, you know, I think that can happen to some people who are very, like I said, insecure,
Yeah.
who are not confident in who they are and
Yeah.
really care what other people think about them. What do you think?
I think that it happens a lot of times.
Really?
Especially when it comes to I think I've experienced it before. I
Okay.
think it happens a lot for people for especially black kids who go through, you're the first one in your family to be educated, and you got that whole thing when you come back to your family and you're like, oh, I want to do this, and they're looking at you like, why do you feel that you can do this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's like a whole new world type situation. Like, people who don't understand the vantage point that you're coming from may necessarily put a lot of fear or unnecessary energy on you that you don't particularly want. And so you go through this situation to where you're like, do I even want to do this? Do I
Yeah.
even want to? Do I even want to display? Do I even want to have this conversation with you about everything that I want to do? You know what I mean? Or do I want to hide it in a corner
Yeah.
and work on it for a very long time and only present it to you when I'm ready?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you think that people who grow up in environments where they are supported, do you feel like that sets them up for failure in life?
Support?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So okay,
I don't understand.
people who grow up having access to support from like family and friends, do you feel like that sets them up for failure when it comes to the real world?
I feel like it only sets you up for failure if your support does not include proper discipline.
Okay, help me explain that more.
So I can support you, but I have to be realistic with you. So if I support you making decisions and you make a decision that you want to kill babies,
Oh wow.
then I have to be
interesting.
realistic with you and say, that's not what we're going to be doing here. And you shouldn't be doing that. And we're going to figure out why you felt like that was a good choice. You know what I mean? Some people confuse support with, what's the word? Like, just going along with everything a person says. Just because somebody supports you does not mean that they have to go along with everything that you're saying. You know what I mean? You can support a person and not agree with everything that they're saying. You can support a person and have a difference of opinion in the things that they're saying. You can do all of that. So I just think that you can, if you're supporting a person and in your support of that person, you are being honest about your opinion. You know what I mean? When it's asked upon, then absolutely, I think support is good for a person. You know what I mean? I feel a lot of times people are able to flourish more and do more because they feel supported in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
What about you?
I think that when I don't think support itself is detrimental for someone, but I think when people support, you know, say for instance you grow up and you're in a supportive environment, I think that it only handicaps you when you're not taught about the realism of the world.
Yeah.
The world. I think that when people support you and they never teach you about, okay, other people are not going to always support you. People are not going to always like you.
Yes.
It sets them up for failure because now, I grew up in a supportive environment, so people must be supportive people.
Yeah.
And so I go out into the world thinking that everybody's going to support me, and then they don't, and now I'm torn up because I've never not been supported.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how rare that could be, but I feel like it's plausible that can happen.
I feel like that happens
so
a lot.
I just wonder, like, how do you combat that? You know, how do you support your children but not enable them?
I feel like the best way to support a child and not label them is to not shield them from reality.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people, it goes into that whole supporting situation. They feel like, oh, well, I'm supporting my baby. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And it's like, you can support a child and still show them. Let's go back to the Lion King. You know what I mean? Simba was like, oh, I just can't wait to be king. He was out of pocket. You know what I mean? Daddy's still alive, and Daddy was supporting him, but Daddy would tell him, listen, you can do whatever you want. You can dream big, but over there you can't go over there. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to expose the realities to certain things, and people are afraid that these kids are, oh, well, I don't want to expose them to this because then if you don't, then the world will.
Right.
And when the world does it, the world's going to do it with a heavy ass hand. You can do it with
remorse,
a nurturing.
no care, no nothing.
Yeah, you can do it with a nurturing hand. I'm not saying that you should have to expose your child to everything at 2 and 3 years old, but I'm saying when you are bringing lessons to your child, bring a rounded lesson to your child. We're going to talk more about that next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
But yeah, I was just thinking of that, you know. Thought it was pretty cool of a question because, you know, something I thought of.
Yes.
But yeah, so Well,
Well,
are you ready for our
affirmation.
affirmation? We'll do affirmation first or journal
Yeah, we
prompt?
could do affirmation
Okay.
first. So today's affirmations are as
Oh, hold on. Let me
follows.
get my computer together.
You ready?
Let me get my computer together. All right, ready.
I will do my very best always. I will do my very best always. I will do my very best always. Second affirmation is I am entitled to strive for my happiness. I am entitled to strive for my happiness. I am entitled to strive for my happiness. And the last affirmation for this week is I celebrate all who are striving for their best. I celebrate all who are striving for their best. I celebrate all who are striving for their best.
I love it.
Those are the affirmations for this week.
Yay. And so, my journal prompt for this week, in light of our message today. So, in your journal this week, I want you to write and talk about a time where you lifted someone up, where you took someone who maybe was in a worse or more worse place than you were, and you lifted them up and helped them to realize their full potential. You helped them to see the error of maybe their ways, or maybe you did something in terms of just lifting them up to be just have more confidence in who they are. But either one, take a moment to write about that time where you felt you lifted someone up.
I like that. I like that, guys. Well, that's it.
That's all, folks. So, you definitely look for us on Apple, on
Amazon
Spotify,
Music.
and Amazon Music.
Definitely look on Amazon
Congratulations
Music.
to the Self Love Society.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, and I'm going to. I'll say this with Gillen Therapeutic Services, my counseling practice. It's only virtual at this moment. I'm really hoping that in the future I can do home. I would love to be able to just, instead of having in my own office spot sometimes, I would love to be able to just go into people's homes and provide therapy in that way.
I think that is awesome, and I think that gives a different level of comfort that a lot of therapists don't think
And you
about.
get to see someone in their own area, in their own element, and you can get a better understanding of who they are.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can influence a better change when you're working in the dwelling that they have, because they spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, because it's just like work. When you go to work, you put on a different facade to step into work. But when you're at home, all of your boundaries, all of your what are they called? All of your walls are up. What's that word? Walls? Okay. But
Like
you
your boundaries?
But you put on like this facade, or you put on this, okay, this is, I can't do this here, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people go into counseling with that, oh, I'm in counseling, so I can't be too open, you know what I mean? But when you're in your home, you're going to be comfortable because you're in your home.
That's true. Absolutely.
Okay, guys, we love you. We'll see you guys next Sunday.
All right, see you all and have a great Sunday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.